What a beautiful day today on the morning of... I don't know what day it is. It truly reminds me of the bizarre summer of 1999. Continuing with the theme of talking about my favorite series, the month would not be complete without a Jojo video. It's probably my favorite manga series of all time, and I figured who better to talk about than my favorite character, Josuke Higashikata. Before I get into Josuke, I want to take a step back and talk about Part 4 as a whole. It's my favorite part for its setting, the characters, the villain, and it generally just feels very comforting in a way. The people of Morio feel like friends of mine, as weird as that is to say. It's the part I go back to the most, simply because of how much enjoyment I get out of seeing them just kind of live their lives. It's comfort food, you know, maybe if I'm having a bad day I'll watch some Part 4 clips. And seeing the gang again just kind of brightens my day. And of course, no character exemplifies this better for me than the main man himself, Josuke. Just from a visual standpoint, he's always been my favorite out of the main JoJos. With that badass hair, the accessories on his uniform, he just has this subtly cool aura to him. Whereas Jojo was more of a kind of tough cool, Josuke is fabulous cool. Whenever I look at Araki's art of him, I'm just surrounded by this sort of weird, serene sort of coolness. And the guy just emanates this sort of weird, positive energy. While his design does of course appeal to me, it's ultimately his personality and relationships with the other characters that made me love him. There's a sort of spectrum to the main JoJo characters where you're either more of an asshole or more of a nice guy. Josuke is somewhere in the middle of this spectrum, and it makes him feel all the more human for it. His dominant personality trait is his good heart, which is reflected by Crazy Diamond's ability to repair things. It's a really beautiful yet human sort of decency. Josuke is by no means Superman, but he lives by an unspoken code to stop evil and help others. He simply can't abide by those who try to use their own strength to try and control or harm people. And we see time and time again the pure contempt he has for some of his more vile enemies, like Kira or Angelo. Although not quite on a quest to stop a species-threatening entity like cars, Josuke is nonetheless fighting to stop a hard evil in the form of Kira Yoshikage. Whereas Kira represents destruction, Josuke is a symbol of healing, and not just in the physical sense. Throughout the story, we see Josuke heal relationships, people's confidence in themselves, and just help those in need. For example, he gives Okuyasu a mental pillar to lean on after his brother dies. He helps Koichi with his relationship problems. He metaphorically and also kind of physically beats the evil out of Rohan. We see time and time again in the town of Morio that Josuke helps those in need. People that are grieving, people that are lacking confidence. And he doesn't do it because it's expected of him, it's just the right thing to do. He's also a funny and down-to-earth guy, and he's totally willing to forgive and forget. Characters like Okuyasu, Shigechi, and Yuya were all his enemies at one point. And after settling their differences, it was as if nothing had ever happened. But Josuke isn't perfect, far from it, and he's not exactly the ultimate moral compass. He's got a greedy side, as shown with his get-rich-quick schemes. He's not above manipulating and lying to others, like when he used Mikitaka to try and beat Rohan at gambling, or when he steals Joseph's wallet. But it's ultimately a very human vice, and it never reaches the point of resorting to violence for it. He's also totally fine with using his power to punish people who genuinely try to hurt him, and especially his friends. People like Rohan and Yuya get a hard beatdown. And when pushed to the absolute limits of what he can tolerate, Josuke is totally fine with doing things like, say, turning Angelo into a fucking rock. But it takes a killing his grandpa level event for something like that to happen. Then there's the subject of his hair, which is much more than just a funny haha. Modeled after the hair of the mystery man who saved him all those years ago, Josuke's hair is so much more than just a slick do, it's a physical representation of his morality. To talk shit about his hair is, in essence, to talk shit about the man who saved him. And in Josuke's mind at least, it's talking shit about human decency. Through some roundabout correlation, the hair is like the centerpiece of his moral compass. And so speaking ill of it is the same as talking shit about his entire way of living. There's just so many great moments with Josuke. From the second he's introduced, it feels like every other chapter or so he's gonna do something worth remembering. Like when he punches straight through that criminal and leaves the knife in him, or all the times he flew into a furious rage over his hair getting insulted. Remember when he had a fucking sniper battle with a rat? Remember when he indirectly got Rohan's fucking house burnt down? It's all great fun. And just watching him exist brings a smile to my face. Josuke is also heavily defined by his relationships with others, like with Koichi. Josuke is almost like the big brother Koichi never had, despite them only being a year apart. The shy and timid Koichi looks up to Josuke for his bravery and can-do attitude. And likewise, Josuke respects Koichi for his abilities and wants the best for him. It's great seeing their relationship turn from Josuke almost sort of babysitting Koichi, to the two becoming comrades and equals. Him and Okuyasu are almost like SpongeBob and Patrick. One dummy, and one even dumber dummy. Their antics are hilarious, and the way they play off of each other is great. It feels like a genuine friendship. Then there's his relationship with Rohan, and the two of them have probably some of my favorite interactions in the entire series. It really is the most tried and true comedic recipe of all time. The straight man and the buffoon. Rohan's stuck-up attitude and pride perfectly conflict with Josuke's down-to-earth nature and acceptance of others. And their clashes of perspective lead to some of the best moments in the entire part. Then there's his family. His relationship with his mom is also really funny and pretty different from the norm. They bicker and it's almost like a relationship between a big sister and a little brother. His interactions with Joseph are both really sad and very heartwarming. It's kind of serene seeing the former main character and the current main character in this situation. One who's decrepit and losing his memory, and the other who's young and full of life. Then there's, of course, Crazy Diamond. Crazy Diamond happens to be my third favorite stand besides D4C and Killer Queen, and it definitely has both my favorite design and ability of any of the protagonist stands. I love its color scheme with the pink and blue and all the heart motifs, its weird little tube things, and of course the mighty da-da-da-da-da-da, which is my favorite stand cry. The ability to repair things is used to such interesting effect. I could make an entire video talking about how cool Crazy Diamond is. Maybe I will at some point, that's a possible Jojo June video, but it really is the perfect complement to his character. In a way, Josuke really does represent everything I love about Jojo wrapped into one nice, neat little package. He's just visually so cool. I love his character, his stand, his relationship with others. And every time I return to part 4, I re-experience the bizarre summer of 1999. It really is the story of kindness, love, and trust in others defeating destruction and evil. And it's all led by one cool dude just doing what's right. He's not a hero of justice, he's just an ordinary teenager who plays video games, hangs out with his friends, and wants some more change in his pocket. He's just Josuke Higashikata, a kid with a bizarre family, bizarre friends, a bizarre ability, who went on a bizarre adventure. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time.